The state-owned newspaper, The People's Daily, often plays the role of spokesperson for the Chinese Communist Party and, by extension, the Chinese government. So a recent editorial lauding a tougher stance on foreign policy could be seen as a warning that a less flexible attitude in this area is likely to continue. Now, the article lists a number of examples to back up this argument, and these include the Foreign Ministry's strong condemnation of the Philippines Coastguard for killing a Taiwanese fisherman during a confrontation in disputed waters, and also a warning to the US not to become too closely involved on the side of Japan in its sovereignty dispute with China in the East China Sea. The author says this new confidence is based on China's growing power and the fact that China is safeguarding its lawful interests. On the other hand, the view from China's sizable nationalist community is that while the government sometimes talks loudly, it rarely tends to follow up warnings with action when it comes to diplomatic disputes. So what do people on the streets of Beijing think of this? Do they agree with the article? Well, our reporter Esther Dung went out to ask.
What do you feel about the Chinese government's diplomatic policy in recent years? Do you agree with the article?
When it comes to foreign policy, I think it's still down to that famous phrase, there's no permanent friends or foes, only permanent interests. And a country's foreign policies have to change with the circumstances. For instance, Japan has been so uncompromising over the Diaoyu Island issue, so we should treat them in kind.
I feel our foreign policy stance is becoming tougher and tougher. On lots of occasions, waging war or getting involved in conflict isn't necessarily the most effective way to solve problems. What is effective is to deter others. And as our country's power grows, we have the ability to be tougher in the diplomatic area.
I feel our foreign policy is just the same as it was 10 years ago, and all we do is warn and condemn.
To be honest, if it were just based on our news reports, I do feel our foreign policy is becoming stronger and tougher. But it's hard to say whether that's positive or not. On the one hand, I feel it's necessary. On the other, I'm worried about the future because I often have a feeling that the world isn't peaceful enough.
Foreign policies change over time. I feel like a decade ago our policies were more conservative, and that was necessary since we needed a stable and peaceful environment to help develop our economy. Now we're much tougher than before, for example in dealing with the Diaoyu Island issues. But I'm confused that in terms of territorial disputes, it always seems that our military has one story and our foreign ministry has another. I don't know who we should believe.